For the longest time, we have wanted legendary trace rifles in the kinetic slot, and this season we got both a stasis one and a strand legendary trace rifle. We already did a video on the seasonal stasis legendary trace rifle that you can get, and now since this weekend you were able to get the Incisor Strand legendary trace rifle for the first time, we're going to be talking about this bad boy. Now, how do you get the Incisor? Well, you get this strand trace rifle from Trials of Osiris. Yes, a PvP weapon, or a weapon that you at least obtain through playing Crucible. Of course, I'm pretty sure everybody that watches this channel is more of a PvE person like myself, but for a legendary strand trace rifle, the first of its kind, oh yeah, I went into Trials this weekend just so I could get a decent roll on this trace rifle, make this video, and go ahead and talk about it. So first of all, as long as you get at least one of these to drop for you, you can then decrypt your Trials engrams into copies of this trace rifle at only 1 engram per trace rifle. Really nice conversion rate in case you do want to go out and try and get one. It does come with 2 origin traits, Alacrity and 1 Quiet Moment. If you're playing solo, Alacrity is just free stat bonuses. We'll happily take that. And 1 Quiet Moment is, it's okay, but they're origin traits, so every single copy of this weapon is going to have both of them anyways. Take your pick. Now, we go ahead and look at this weapon's perk pool. This is where we're going to be spending the bulk of our time talking about it. Since all trace rifles have the same frame, that being an adaptive frame, we don't have to look too far into that aspect of the weapon. So we're looking at the perk pool here and now. Third column. First of all, we're going over PVE rolls. In case you didn't know, we're talking PVE rolls here. Me personally, in the background gameplay, I'm using one with Slice. I feel like Slice, at least on this trace rifle, could be a little bit more useful, right? You can tag enemies at a distance, you have a lot more ammo to do so with, and maybe if you're on something like a Cenotaph Warlock, you're running Ember of Benevolence, Slice could definitely be pretty useful, especially in something like a GM. Obviously, Slice isn't that useful in lower end content where everything just kind of falls over, but in a GM, maybe a master activity, Slice could definitely come in handy, at least a little bit, because you have a lot more ammo to work with this perk. Some of these other perks for PvE aren't really that insane. I know some people really like dynamic sway reduction. I don't really care for it, at least in PvE, but that's just me. One other perk that could be pretty useful is Envious Assassin, right? Because you're going to be treating this trace rifle as a primary weapon. So if you pair this thing with another really strong special weapon in your energy slot, you can proc Envious Assassin a little bit, get a fatter mag. I know Envious can still be a little bit wonky to use on a trace rifle, but because this is one in the kinetic slot, you can at least pair it with a Forbearance. And proccing Envious Assassin on this weapon with a weapon like Forbearance is going to be very, very friendly to you. And then the other decent PvE perk worth mentioning in the third column, at least in my opinion, would definitely have to be Subsistence. Just preventing you from having to reload as often, as each kill you get with this weapon will refill 10% of the magazine to you from its reserves. Now, if you had asked me what I think the best perk in this third column for PvE is, at least at the moment, I'm leaning towards Slice just because it gives it some utility, and no other trace rifle in the game has this perk at all. So, definitely worth mentioning. Now, in the fourth column, we do have some other pretty decent stuff. Now, target lock on a trace rifle, I could see how that could be useful, although me personally, I'm not the biggest fan of target lock on a trace rifle. Trace rifles can hold a decent amount of ammo, but if you're dumping it crazy on healthier enemies, you will run out of ammo relatively quick, and that is kind of what target lock encourages. So me personally, I'm not going to recommend target lock, but hey, if you like target lock, it is here in this fourth column. Hatchling is here as well, although I don't really know how many rapid final blows you will be getting with a trace rifle, but if you want to go full strand, Slice Hatchling, I mean, you can do that here as well. I mean, I think Hatchling would be better on the LMG, but Hatchling is here as well. I feel like Attrition Orbs is just not all that strong for what it is doing and how much you have to commit in order to do it, especially on a special weapon. Maybe on something like a primary where you have infinite ammo, it could be definitely a decent option to go with. But on a special weapon, you do have limited ammo, so using a good chunk of that to try and spawn orbs, at least in my opinion, is not the best call. I was hyped for this perk, at least initially, but man, it takes a little too much of that magazine to spawn a single orb when you're just better off at that point going for a siphon mod, you know what I mean? And then I feel like the other big perk that people are definitely going to go for in the fourth column would probably be killing tally, right? You could go subsistence killing tally. That could be pretty useful in maintaining your killing tally buff. And unlike target lock, you don't need to be sinking large portions of your magazine to get that max potential out of this perk. In this case, you only need 3 kills to get your 30% damage increase, and then you just have it until you either reload or stow the weapon, which I definitely think is better than target lock at that point. But that's just me. Me personally, it would have been absolutely amazing if this weapon could have gotten shoot to loot in the fourth column. Slice and shoot to loot for a GM. Man, that would be absolutely amazing. However, for a first of its kind weapon, I think overall that its perk pool definitely has some stuff at least going for it. Not saying it's ooga booga giga insane, must get, must suffer in Crucible if you're a PvE player for this weapon, insanely type of good. But I am definitely saying that, hey, there's some good stuff here. I would definitely say the easiest role to just rock with would probably be Subsistence and Killing Tally. Slice and Killing Tally could definitely be pretty useful as well. Maybe Slice Hatchling if you want to go that route. But I really feel like Killing Tally is probably its best option in column 4. Subsistence and Slice probably being the best in column 3. And if you like Envious Assassin, it is here as well. You guys go ahead and let me know your thoughts and opinions on the first ever Legendary Strand Trace Rifle in the game, as well as if you decided to actually hop into trials to go ahead and try and get one. Remember, if you ever want to get your games and DLC for a cheaper price, you make sure you hit up Instant Gaming, top link in the description. You guys take care, consider subscribing, be safe, and we'll see your beautiful faces in the next one. Adios!